Let's go.
Welcome everybody to another episode of the Halftime Adjustments Podcast. I am your host, Derric Benavidez, and as always, I got my best friend with me, Colton McCarley. It is a wonderful Tuesday night, December 20th. We are nearing the holiday season. It is getting chillier outside, and we are in the heart of the playoffs, ladies and gentlemen. And Colton, this past week of football was just so ridiculous. I feel like there were so many stupid mistakes.
Yeah.
So many dumb
You can say
mistakes.
that. Yeah. You want to know the one that hurt me the most?
Which one?
The Aaron Jones fumble that was like, I don't know did you actually see that play or no?
No, I didn't see it actually.
Okay, it was so dumb. You'll have to go look this up. So Aaron Jones fumbled the ball, but to me it looked like his forward progress had completely stopped. So sort of like after the play, it hadn't been whistled dead yet, but the play was clearly over. He kind of takes his foot off the gas, and at that exact time, Jalen Ramsey strips the ball as he's going down. But it was like all forward progress had stopped for like 2 seconds. And then as he's going down, the ball is stripped. But it was like the ball didn't even touch the ground. It was just in one hand and then in Jalen Ramsey's. And they counted it as a fumble. And that fumble cost me the freaking game. I lost my fantasy matchup by 1.5 fantasy points.
Wow.
Yeah, so I'm hurting today. And of course, they kneel the game out on the 1 yard line.
Yeah.
After Aaron Jones, gets it all the way down there, they don't give him the touchdown. And so I could have won too, but they decided to, with 2 minutes left in the game, to kneel the freaking ball out. Right. And so yeah, I'm hurting today. It's a tough day. That's what killed me the most.
Yeah, that's rough, especially in your playoffs. That sucks, dude. I'm sorry about that.
Got eliminated.
That's rough, dude. Man. For those of you that are wondering, last week we ended the podcast, me and Colton head to head. Colton needed me to lose my match, and he needed to get 30 points in order to beat me into the playoffs. Well, I didn't end up losing this past week. I had George Kittle, Christian McCaffrey combination. It was too much for the other team, and I ended up beating them. And so
even if you had lost, I wasn't losing, or I wasn't getting you by 30. It seemed.
I think I won by 30 if we were to go up against each other.
Yeah, I was still done for, regardless.
Well,
tough week.
Yeah,
tough week.
It was a tough week. But needless to say, I go up against one of the best teams next week in our first round of playoffs. So it's going to be, it's not easy for me going forward still. I still have a really tough matchup. But we'll see what happens because I'm optimistic. Always optimistic. All right, let's jump right into the news. First things first. Probably one of the most terrible news stories to break. Jalen Hurts has his sprained shoulder on his throwing shoulder, and he's most likely to miss this upcoming week, either like right in the middle of playoffs. That's so bad because he's on so many playoff teams. Like, I think he's like the number one quarterback in playoff teams right now.
He is. They're saying he could be out for the rest of the regular season to preserve him for playoffs. So, like, they're taking the approach of, like, hey, we have playoffs locked up. We may not get the first seed, but, like, if Cowboys storm back and Gardner Minshew can't hold this together, but, yeah, they may lose him, and everybody who made playoffs, probably at least one person has Hurts, and, yeah, that's a huge blow for a lot of people.
Yeah, and why wouldn't they bench him? Because, I mean, he's very necessary in the playoff run, and all they need to do is win one game. All they need to do is win one game, and they have home field advantage.
Exactly. Yeah.
So they're pretty much, and they're going up against the Cowboys, the Saints, and the Giants. So I
Oh, they
mean,
can get that
they
done.
can get that done with a backup. I think their defense is really good. Their running game is good. I mean, they have all these weapons. I think Minshew should be fine. Here's my big takeaway from this injury. I think work goes up for Miles Sanders because
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts is a mobile quarterback, and so Miles Sanders is gonna benefit the most from that because he's gonna get most of the running game now, rather than having Jalen Hurts take it. And obviously, Gardner Minshew is gonna rely on him a lot.
Yeah, no, I could see that totally. You got to rely on those stars now. A.J. Brown has to step up, Sanders, Smith, they all have to really be the voice of this team now, and it's not going to be on Gardner.
Right.
So this should be super, super interesting to see how the rest of the – and I mean, again, like this affects all the people we just talked about, Devontae Smith,
Yeah.
A.J. Brown, Dallas Goedert, like all these people now who were fantasy studs all year long. Like they all take a hit. This affects everyone right now, and all those guys are probably leading you into your playoffs right now. So, that's a bummer for a lot of people.
Yeah.
A lot of people on that team just got affected.
Yeah, it's kind of a like a double whammy at that point because you lose Jalen Hurts and you get Dallas Goedert back. So
Yeah,
the targets are
we'll
going.
probably see a dip.
Yeah, they're going to dip. The targets are going to start dipping. I think AJ Brown would be okay, but Devontae Smith is somebody that is questionable.
I worry
going
about him.
forward. Yeah. But yeah, that's just with the impact of Jalen Hurts.
Yeah,
But yeah, I'd keep an eye on that situation because they're more likely going to shut him down for the regular season. All they need to do is win one game. So,
yep, exactly.
on other news, Jonathan Taylor has his high ankle sprain, and he is most likely done for your season, or for the season, I should say. The Colts aren't going into playoffs. No way. Not after that embarrassment of a 33-point lead. Jeez. It was 33-0 at halftime.
Was it really? Oh my goodness!
Can you imagine that? Imagine losing a 33-point lead.
Yeah, that's insane.
Crazy. But yeah, Jonathan Taylor's out. We'll talk about waivers later, and what to do with Jonathan Taylor being out. Dallas Goedert is expected to return versus the Cowboys. We kind of already talked about this with Jalen Hurts' news, but Dallas Goedert is expected to come back for your fantasy playoffs, which is good. Up against the Cowboys, though, that's a pretty tough matchup. Cowboys are like one of the worst teams for tight ends right now. So, I mean, it is Dallas Goedert, though. So, who knows? If you want to take a risk, then go for it right after he comes back from injury. I think I don't think this is a must start. Do you, Colton?
No, I don't think so. I mean, honestly, just look at tight ends without their starting quarterbacks, and they don't do so hot. Like the perfect example is Mark Andrews, right?
Yeah.
Like we've seen this happen. We've seen him go from a starter and getting 10 to 11 targets a game to getting like 5, 6 a game and averaging 4 fantasy points.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think I'm touching this. I would stay away and try to get one of these guys that we're going to talk about later. One of those. And he's coming off injury. There's just too much there. Yeah, there's a lot of moving parts, and I would just shy away from it.
Yeah, a couple of people I would start over Dallas Goedert. One would be David Njoku.
I got a great one. And it's a bit of an out there name, but I think it's a really good start. Travis Kelce would be a good one. If you have Kelce, you probably should start him.
Oh, that's a pretty good one. Yeah. That's a close call right there. I don't know.
Just saying. I know it's a toss up, but he's probably the guy this week.
Yeah, that's a close one. Oh man, I would start Dawson Knox over Goddard.
Yeah.
Those are just a couple names.
Kittle, probably.
I mean, yeah, that's a close one. That's actually a pretty close one.
Yeah, it's a little closer. A little closer.
A little closer. Oh my god. All right,
Oh man.
let's move on. Zach Wilson is expected to start in week 16. Honestly, okay, so this could either be good for Zach Wilson or it could be so terrible for Zach Wilson.
Yeah, no kidding.
I feel like he's gonna either have a really good game or a really just embarrassing, just 3 interceptions, just throws it at the straight to the defender type game. So here's the thing with Zach Wilson: whenever he plays, Garrett Wilson doesn't do great. And so that's the problem with Zach Wilson. Whenever Mike White plays, Garrett Wilson's great. He knows what to do. Like he can. Mike White is better than Zach Wilson at this point.
No kidding. Yeah, he's developed.
Yeah, but Mike White is out. He did not clear for contact with his rib injury, so he is not going to be playing. So yeah, it's just going to be Zach Wilson. Any more to add on this? I don't think so, right?
No, not really. It's a blend. This game is a Thursday night game. It's gonna suck. I'm staying away from it personally, but nothing to add.
Mm-hmm. All right, moving on to another quarterback, Colt McCoy. The second string quarterback behind Kyler Murray is day to day with a concussion injury. He's in concussion protocol. Man, I really hope he clears because I have DeAndre Hopkins on my team, and I feel like if Colt McCoy doesn't play, which is already bad enough for DeAndre Hopkins, then it's going to be tough for DeAndre Hopkins to do anything.
Honestly, yeah. This guy just can't get any help, can't catch a break.
And I mean, I do feel like D-Hop can play with any QB and make the QB semi-good.
Yeah.
But
you're really testing the water.
Yeah. It's going to be tough.
You start getting into third string quarterbacks, like his production, how can it really stay up that high?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah, I'm going to have to make a decision later because I have D-Hop, Zay Jones, and I can play with my flexes. I mean, I have Amon-Ra. He's locked in, but
yeah,
I can play with my flex options. We'll probably talk about that later because I'm in a tough situation.
Yeah, that's no fun.
All right. Moving on. Josh Allen is limited with his elbow injury. It's the same, his throwing elbow. It's the same injury that we saw earlier in the year. He played through it though, so hopefully it doesn't limit him at all. I think he'll be fine. He's gonna play.
I honestly don't. They've come out and said that like nothing has gotten worse on this. It's just something he's dealing with. I think it's just one of those things of football. You know, it's time to be an Iron Man, but I don't necessarily think it's that bad.
Yeah. I don't think his situation is like Jalen Hurts' situation where because they're still behind. They're trying to get the bye, and they are. Yep. Who's right behind them? Somebody's right behind them. Who is it?
Who?
Hold on, I'm looking right now. I forget. Oh, the Chiefs are right behind them.
Oh yeah.
So they're both 11-3. So they're trying to fight for that bye. So they're going to play their best, which is good for playoffs. Which is good for your fantasy playoffs. But yeah, I think Josh Allen should be fine, and I think he's also going to go nuclear again against the Bears.
Yeah.
And then here's one that kind of surprised me, and I'm surprised you didn't see it, Colton. It was Nick Chubb. He is not practicing with his foot injury. This one's kind of surprising. It's kind of alarming at the same time too, because Nick Chubb is in so many playoff teams. Mm-hmm. He obviously hasn't been doing as much as he used to be doing whenever Jacoby Brissett was the quarterback, but if he doesn't play, then he will be very worthless. So,
yeah. I mean, this is the old talk of handcuffs. You should have had Kareem Hunt rostered, and in the league that I have Kareem Hunt, or that I have Chubb, I have Hunt in one of my leagues. I don't think I have him in the other one, but I know I have him in one. And I try to handcuff him everywhere I can because of situations like this. I think Hunt can come in and be an excellent start against New Orleans. Like but I just don't know that there's much to this. It seems very vague. It's just a foot injury. I don't know. He's just I think they're just hitting the point in the season where everyone's going to be a little banged up. Everyone's going to have something going on, and hopefully it's not enough to keep him out because this guy, he's been on a bit of the past 3 weeks. He's hadn't done so hot, but he's still like last week. He still had 99 yards. If he finds the end zone, that's a pretty good day.
Right.
He just didn't find the end zone, so I still have faith. Hopefully he can turn it around and finish the season strong.
Yeah, you definitely want that too for somebody that probably got you to the playoffs to begin with.
Exactly.
And his matchup is pretty decent this week as well. So, yeah, I mean, you want Nick Chubb for your playoff run for sure. He's going up against
absolutely.
the Saints. The Saints are. This is going to be a low-scoring game, dude. Saints versus
I think
Browns. So. We'll talk about the Browns D later in the waivers section. All right, moving on. Trevor Lawrence is dealing with his toe injury. I don't think this is much either. He's limited at this time, but he's been turning it on, dude. Like he has been. Their offense is starting to really gel. And here's the problem. They're going up against the Jets this week.
But it's on a Thursday, so like it's a quick turnaround for both squads.
Yeah, it's true. It's very true. So I don't know. I don't know. This is in prime time. I guess we'll see what Trevor Lawrence is capable of. So
this would be the time.
Mm-hmm. All right, moving on. Lamar Jackson is also in the news. He is still not practicing at this time. It's another one of those things where you might not have him for the rest of the season, unfortunately. But we're still monitoring the situation. I mean, he's somebody that you would want for your fantasy playoffs if you're in with Lamar Jackson.
If you were able to hit that,
right.
I guess get past the issues of it.
Mm-hmm. And then one thing on the same team, Devin Duvernay goes on IR with his foot injury. This one was kind of surprising to me too. This is just another weapon that they don't have now. Which sucks. But I mean, if there was a time for Mark Andrews to do something with nothing, then this would be the time. So.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, he's the guy to step up here. Either that or J.K. Dobbins, but like they should be leaning on him at this point.
Yeah,
he needs to really step it up here, big time.
Right. All right. Well, that was most of the news for this week. But now, since we're in the heart of the playoffs, Colton, I want to start talking about some playoff banter. Let's start talking about the playoffs and what's good for the team for the teams that are in playoffs. What should they be looking for at this time? And the one thing that I'm looking for right now is teams to go after for your playoff run. And right now, the top team that I'm going after is the Detroit Lions. Do you agree?
Interesting. Okay. So I just want to make sure I understand. You're talking about players that you think will have success for the remainder of the year?
Yes, for the remainder of the regular season.
Which is about 2 weeks.
Yeah, which is about 2 more weeks for most leagues.
Mm-hmm.
I think the best team that will put up the most points for your, like, will have fantasy relevant players and just players in general that are going to help you win your league. I think the number one team to target is the Detroit Lions right now. I'm talking about.
I don't hate that.
I'm talking about Amon-Ra. I'm talking about Swift. I'm talking about Jared Goff. I'm talking about even DJ Chark, even Jameson Williams. The Detroit Lions.
But the question is, when you say you're like looking these guys and you're thinking that they're going to get you the success, like you can't trade at this point. So like
you can't trade. No. So you could either pick
So you're
up
just saying these are guys you're absolutely starting.
Yeah, these are guys that I'm absolutely trying to start or get on my team or pick up off of waivers. In fact, even if you were second guessing any of these players, going into playoffs, I wouldn't. That's just kind of my opinion.
Yeah.
So I think Amon-Ra should be a smash hit. Here's the reason. Here's my reasoning behind it is because the Detroit Lions are fighting super hard right now to get into that playoff spot, that last playoff spot. Their offense is gelling. They have a really good offense right now. Their momentum is just insane. They're going up against the Panthers this week. And then after that, they're going up against the Bears. So
2 great matchups.
I think the Bears one is even better. Only because I know Justin Fields is probably going to put up points for his team.
Yeah.
So that's one thing I'm looking at. Is just that matchup.
Well, even then, like all that does is make it to where they have to continue to throw up points to win. So like it only helps the guys even more.
Right. Yeah. No. Yeah. I totally agree.
I don't know. A team that I think could have really, I mean, obviously it's hard not to say a team like the Bills, who have Chicago, Cincinnati. Like, I think both of those, like, they can just dominate. But everyone's starting anyone that you have on the Bills. So, like, a fringe team, someone on the fence, that's when it gets a little harder. Okay, I think I'm going to go with the Vikings.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because they've had some...
Vikings, yeah.
Yeah, I'll take give me the Vikings squad. Obviously, you're starting J. Jeff, you're starting Dalvin Cook, but like I'm even going out of my way to start Hawkinson, Adam Thielen. They have really good matchups against New York, the Giants, and then the following week they have Green Bay. Green Bay isn't phenomenal. Like they haven't been killing it this year. So yeah, I think Kirk Cousins could do some good in both of these games, and I mean Let's be honest here. That Giants line has improved big time. So like if they can figure out how to keep them at bay, I really like the Vikings schedule going into the I guess with the semifinals and championship round over the next 2 weeks. Yeah. So give me all the Vikings players, especially Hawkinson. I think he's going to be key to success for some fantasy people.
Yeah, the Hawkmaster himself, TJ Hawkinson.
Is that what you call him? Call him the Hawkmaster?
Yeah, that's what he goes by. That's what he tells me, at least.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Y'all have that close relationship.
Yeah, we're so close.
Listen, when you lost out on T-Pain, I knew you had to get someone. For those who don't know, Derric and I have been having an argument that has spanned for probably, 8 years now on who's closer with T-Pain, our good friend T-Pain. And
you mean my
it's
good
definitely
friend,
been
T-Pain?
me.
Okay.
It's definitely been me. Listen, I brought it up to him, and he just coattailed me. Just straight up.
Oh,
we'll
don't
it what it is.
even.
We'll
don't
call it what it is.
Even. Me and T go way back.
So I'm glad you found someone as like a pity friend now that T has sort of left you, and we're doing our own thing now. We're hanging out. We're having a good time. He takes me to parties, and you can try to do the same with Hawkinson and what is it, Minnesota? Yeah, have fun. It'll be great. It'll be a really good time.
You know what? T was telling me the other day that he just hates you as a friend. He's just like, that dude Colton is just so annoying. I do not like hanging out with him. He tells me that all the time.
Man, that's wild. Because he just filed paperwork for a restraining order against you and said, this guy won't leave me the hell alone. So it's just so weird. The stories we hear, man. Did you hear that from like his window? Because I know you weren't inside.
You know what? That actually, he told me about that. Actually, wasn't a restraining order. It was a marriage certificate. We're getting married.
Oh, that's weird. You did, yeah. Yeah. Good for you. Good for you.
Okay. All right. What am I? Okay. So the last team I'm gonna say, the last team that I'm targeting for this fantasy playoff push. It's another one of those lower tier teams. It's the Jacksonville Jaguars. Their offense is starting to come alive now. Trevor Lawrence has proved me wrong. I didn't think he was going to put up great points like he did last week against the Cowboys. He's got it. They don't have that easy of a schedule. They're going up against the Jets next week, which is tough, but I mean, I still think they're going to have to get the win. And the Jacksonville Jaguars are starting to put it together offensively in the air, which is surprising because I thought it was going to be more so on the ground, like in the middle of the season with Travis Etienne. But that's the thing about Travis Etienne; he's starting to go downhill. But I think he'll be fine. That's one thing that I'm thinking.
Yeah, he didn't have the best performance against the Cowboys, but he still put on a good show. It was like 13 points, so like that's viable. He's a running back 2 for you right now. Yeah. You know.
Here's one thing that I'm questioning going back and forth, and it's one of my questions that I'm going to bring up because I don't know what to do in this situation, Colt. Zay Jones coming off of 2 really great games. I mean, he just had a monster of a game this past week. Would you still ride him?
I mean, how can you not? He just dropped a 30 and 37. Like, that's like... I don't know. I feel like you have to ride the success. We saw Christian Watson put up 7 touchdowns in 6 games or something ridiculous, 5 games. Yeah. But like, imagine if you stepped off the gas in week 2 and you missed out on that success for several more weeks. Like I feel like if the success is there, you just have to ride the hot hand until it is no longer hot.
Yeah, but
like you said, you like their matchup.
Yeah, I mean, I like their next coming matchups just because of what Jacksonville has to fight for. That's the thing. That's why I like their matchup so much.
Yeah.
But he's going up against the Jets. That's a really tough team to go up against. I mean, he's going up against Houston, which isn't... I mean, it's bad for quarterbacks because they don't have to do much against the Houston Texans, but we've seen the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Houston's starting to come alive. But I don't know, Jets, what do you think, Colton?
I'll give you the Jets are a tough one. The only thing I'll say is it's on a short week, and I think the short week benefits the better team. And I don't think that the Jets are the better team. They have had quarterback turnover and turmoil. They have had a plethora of injuries. I think that there's a lot to go against them on a short week.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think I'm still riding the hot hand. Like you said, McCoy, you said your other option is Hopkins, right?
Yeah, it's Hopkins with McCoy out.
I don't know. Yeah, you're banking on a third string quarterback being able to get him the ball with a guy that he doesn't have any chemistry with because they haven't ran any routes together, most likely.
Right.
I don't know, man. I just don't know that I see him having any sort of success in this game against Tampa Bay, who we know is sort of a stout defense. They're not the best in the league anymore, but they're certainly not bad by any means. And a third-string quarterback can get picked apart real fast by someone like that. Right. It can be a bloodbath. So I'd probably lean with the hot hand there in Zay Jones. And, yeah, they may completely shut him down, and Hopkins could get 15 targets and go off for 150 yards. But, if you're playing preventative style, I'm riding the hot hand and not banking on a third-string quarterback being able to tear apart Tom Brady and the Bucs defense.
Right. That's one thing I'm double questioning too. Is like I know that I'm probably going to go with Zay Jones this week, because he's got a hot hand. I like his quarterback still, but now I'm like looking at Hopkins in my flex because I have Amon-Ra as well. And Amon-Ra is obviously going to be in. But I could pivot with Hopkins. Like I have a couple options for flex. I can do Isaiah Pacheco, which is not what I think is happening over there in Kansas City. I don't understand the whole thing.
Yeah, it's so weird
going on. It's so hard to predict these things. But yeah, I thought it was going to be Isaiah Pacheco, not Jerick McKinnon. But Jerick McKinnon has done it 2 weeks in a row. So that situation is it's so weird and tough to decide on what to do with Isaiah Pacheco taking most of the groundwork, or more of the groundwork, I should say, but Jerick McKinnon, obviously, clearly the better passing option out there in Kansas City.
They love him.
Yeah. So I'm just kind of I'm stuck in that little window right there with Hopkins, Pacheco, and Zay Jones.
So. I mean, I think you absolutely have to start Zay Jones. I think you just have to. Yeah. Dallas is not a bad defense by any means, and he toyed with them. He made them look silly. I understand that Sauce Gardner is still legit, but I feel like there's so many ways that Trevor Lawrence can pick you apart. They still have Christian Kirk. They still have Evan Ingram. They still have ETN. So, like, you just can't cover all these guys, and the guys who seem to get consistently open is Zay Jones. So I think you got to lock him in. Pacheco and D-Hop is a really tough one. I'm still leaning Pacheco. Even with the work that's been put in with McKinnon over the past 2 weeks, like you said, it's all in the passing game. He's not getting a lot of rushing yards, and Pacheco is still getting the carries. So I think I want to ride the hand there and bank that he can break off a few runs because he's had a few quiet weeks, but he's still a good runner. And I think if he can just have one of those games where he sort of just goes off. He received 15 carries last week, still had 86 yards. If he finds the end zone, again, not that bad of a day. You're probably sitting around 14 to 13 fantasy points. It's not 35, but it's your flex. So,
yeah, the one thing that I love about his matchup is that he's going up against the Seattle Seahawks, which is one of the easiest defenses for running backs. That's like the main thing that I like about Pacheco. But yeah, it's Hopkins, like you said, I mean, he has his third string quarterback throwing him the ball, so he might not do much, or him, if anything, he might not do anything. So it's
I think I'd probably run Pacheco, but I think the week after that, I'd run D-Hop because I don't like Pacheco against Denver. Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, this week, though, I think you start Pacheco and you ride the hot hand in Zay Jones. Just my opinion.
Yeah. Okay. I want to bring up.
I'm gonna bring up a guy though.
Oh yeah,
I got a guy that I want to bring up here.
Okay.
There's a guy who I've mentioned several times on this podcast. I'm in love with him. If there's a player that I'm ever gonna get that's not a Dallas Cowboy, whose jersey that I'm after, it's J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah.
And holy crap, does he look good? I know he was held out today because of they were resting his knee, so he didn't practice today. But man, I gotta say, I think I'm riding Dobbins through the playoffs. I have him in one of my leagues, and I have him and Swift this week, and I think I'm going to bench Swift for Dobbins because what's insanely impressive about Dobbins is what he's doing with his limited volume. He's not getting 20 to 30 carries like some of these other guys. He put up on 15 touches 120 yards and a touchdown, and on 13 touches 125 yards. He looks so good, man. He's being so effective with his volume. What does that break out to? 125 yards divided by 13 attempts. That's 9.6 yards a carry.
Yeah, that's really
good. Ridiculous.
That's super efficient. Yeah,
I mean, that's against Cleveland. He had to run against Myles Garrett. That's not a scrub you're going against, and now he's going against Atlanta.
Yeah,
and then Pittsburgh.
Right after.
Yeah, give me Dobbins, bro.
I love J.K. Dobbins long term. He's putting it on towards the end of the year, and they're going to be relying on him more and more. Without if Lamar Jackson's not playing, he's not playing, so they're going to have to rely on him more.
Dude, I legit might keep Dobbins as one of my 3 keepers in our keeper league.
Yeah, would you keep him over Chubb?
No, I'd keep him over AJ Brown. I think I'd let Brown go, and I'd keep Jamar Chase, Nick Chubb, J.K. Dobbins, and then I would. So I have the luxury this year of having the 101. So I technically have 4 keepers.
4. You basically have 4.
I got rid of the 104. I traded that away for Chubb. So I do have only the 1 first-round pick. But I can say, okay, I now see the offseason. I want Brown again. Or I can go with Bijan Robinson and get the amazing running back in Bijan. And then I could have Chubb, Dobbins, Bijan, and Jamar Chase as my starting 4.
It depends on what team Bijan lands, though, for me.
Oh, absolutely. That's why I'm so glad we're doing the draft after the actual NFL draft. Because if he lands on a crap team, I'm good. I don't want to really see him at somewhere like I'd hate if he fell to the Patriots or someone like that.
Oh, that would be so bad. That would
folded
be
in with Harris and Stevenson and all these other guys. Put him on somewhere dude, I really think the Cowboys have a shot to get him. I've said it once, I'll say it again.
No way.
Okay, but hear me out. Pollard is an unrestricted free agent, so Pollard has to get paid this offseason, right?
Yeah.
Okay, we're paying Zeke $16 million a year. I've looked up.
This is his last season on that.
It's not his last season. He still has a few more years, but we can cut him this year, and it's a $2 million cap hit. Okay. So this would be the year that if we were going to cut Zeke, it would make the most financial sense. We could finally get out of that really bad contract. So hear me out. Pollard goes and gets his money elsewhere. We literally can't afford to pay what he can get out on the free agency. So Pollard leaves. Zeke, you got to take a lesser deal if you want to stay here. Okay, I'll take $7 million a year. And then you replace Pollard with Bijan. And you have Zeke and Bijan. And as Zeke starts to trail off, comes to the end of his career, you have Bijan step up and be that guy. He can learn behind Zeke for a year or so. No, not a ton of touches on his body, and then boom, you're good.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see it happen. There's a lot of moving pieces for that to happen.
Oh yeah, so many.
Yeah, Pollard obviously has to go elsewhere. Zeke obviously has to get his contract, and the Cowboys probably have to move up draft picks because I don't think he's going to go that low.
I wondered this. I think he's going to be. I had an argument with a friend on this, and my buddy is saying that he'll go top 10.
That's what I was going to say. I think that's possible. I do think that's possible.
Oh man, see, we looked into this. We've had so many arguments because I've said that I don't think out of principle there's a team that will take him top 10 after we saw Zeke go top 5, we saw Leonard Fournette go top 5, and we've seen Saquon. Saquon and Leonard Fournette went. Barkley was 2, Fournette was 4. They were the last 2 running backs to be selected in the top 10. All 3 of those running backs were a fail. If you look at where you took them compared to where other guys, like Myles Garrett was the first overall pick, look what he's doing. He's going to be playing for a very, very long time. But Leonard Fournette looks like he's coming to the end of his career. So I just don't know if there's a team that's willing to risk so much capital on a running back anymore. I don't know. I'd be super interested to see if a team would do that.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to see, obviously, and he hasn't. Not another running back has looked this good, other than Saquon Barkley, and Saquon Barkley was taken at the number 2 spot.
Okay, so let me ask you. I'm gonna just rattle off the top 10. You tell me if there's a guy here that you think is being. That they're taking him. So Houston,
they're taking a quarterback.
They're taking quarterback. Chicago, they're probably going defensive end. They need defense or offensive line, right? They have Fields. They're going to ride him out. They don't need a running back. They have Montgomery, Khalil Herbert. They're not taking a running back.
This is Montgomery's last year, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but there's so much more they need. They need a wide receiver. They really need a wide receiver. You already have a running back in Fields. I think when you're looking at the biggest needs, you need offensive line, you need linebacker, you need defensive line, you need wide receiver.
They need a wide receiver.
That's so far down their list. So no to Chicago. 3 is the Seahawks. No,
Seattle.
They have. Yeah, they don't need a
Kenneth
guy.
Walker. Yeah.
4 Lions.
Lions. No.
5 Arizona. They just paid Connor. So I'd find them hard pressed to make that move.
You know what? I don't know though. That one's a good one. I feel like he could land there. That's one thing.
Again, I just think
I know that they just paid him, but I don't know.
It's not even that they just paid him. It's again there will still be top line defensive ends, elite offensive tackles, elite linebackers, elite wide receivers. There's just so many other safeties will be on the board, cornerbacks will be on the board. I think when you're looking at all of those guys, and you're looking at what James Conner has been able to do for you, you're like, okay, Bijan will be a great improvement for sure. But will it be a better improvement than getting 15 more sacks a year with the number 1 defensive end or the number 2 defensive end? I don't know. So
here's the thing that I'm thinking. So I still think that he's going to be taken top 10. I'm not saying that it's a good idea though. I think it's it's a bad idea. I think that's fair to say. I think because obviously running back is just you don't need to get a running back that early that doesn't have that much of a shelf life. I mean, there's definitely better options other than running back and that are necessary for NFL teams. But
Yeah.
I do think Arizona is a target. Like I think they could probably target him. So I don't know.
So, I'll let me rattle off just some teams that I think could do this. I'll give you Atlanta at 7. I think Atlanta is stupid enough to make this move.
Yeah.
I truly do.
Yeah.
I think Carolina, there's no shot in the world they go Bijan just because of how, that's the final piece. When you're looking at a team and you're building, the running back is sort of the icing on the cake. When we took Zeke in 2016, it was the icing on the cake.
Right.
You didn't need other things. They are so destroyed at the moment.
Yeah.
They have so much they need. Mm-hmm. Yeah, they won't do it. Eagles at 9, they may go. Maybe with Miles Sanders. Yeah, they might. Las Vegas, no. I think they'll re-sign.
Yeah, I think they'll re-sign
Josh Jacobs. Mm-hmm. Jacksonville, no chance. Houston at 12, no chance. Pittsburgh, no chance. Green Bay, no chance. Seattle at 15, no chance. New England at 16, no chance. Jets, no. Detroit at 18, no. Tampa at 19 is where I see as a viable possibility.
Yeah, possibly.
So I kind of think you're going to get into the teens. I told him I don't think he goes before 12. I said after 12 is where I think he'll go, but I don't think he touches top 10.
I mean, I hope you're right.
A responsible thing.
I hope you're right. I mean, if they take him because he's going to go he's going to go first round. I think still 100% he should be going
100%.
But yeah, if he goes top 10, it would be a mistake, I think.
Yeah,
but I do
team building.
I still think it's going to happen. That's the problem.
Yeah, we'll see, dude. I love the draft. I'm gonna host the draft party again this year, and we're gonna kick it off. It's gonna be fun. Okay, sorry to hold you up. I didn't mean to go off a tangent there. We can go to the next segment. I love talking draft stuff. Whenever the season ends, I'm gonna be full draft mode. Be ready.
Oh yeah, I'm ready for it. We are ready to get after the playoffs. Everybody listening, we're gonna get super into Dynasty and this upcoming draft because
baby,
we are ready for it.
Heck yeah! I think I enjoy team building more than I enjoy the actual football season. So draft is my thing. I'm ready. So, all right, what do we got next?
I don't even remember what we were talking about.
J.K. Dobbins' success.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, J.K. Dobbins' success. No, he's good. He's gonna be good.
Yeah, great analysis. Really glad we came back to this for that.
Yeah, he'll be good. He'll be all right.
That guy's pretty good.
You know who else is good? Josh Allen. He's pretty good too.
Josh Allen. That's a guy you want to start. Do not bench Josh Allen.
Yeah, even if he's injured, just playing. Just keep him on your team.
That's a guy there.
Yeah, that's a guy.
All right, come on, move along here.
Let's move on. Let's move on to King of the Hill. That's enough banter for today. I think we spent a lot of time on the on the next upcoming NFL draft. So
not even on this season.
Yeah, not even on this season anymore. Let's move on to King of the Hill. He did it to me after I said that he would never do it again. So embarrassing. Jerick McKinnon, come on, man. What are we doing here? He is Patrick Mahomes' favorite target right now. He is.
He's killing it.
He's killing it. And then my guy, the guy that I don't know what to do with, Zay Jones. He was the king of the hill for wide receiver.
You gotta honor him, man. You gotta honor him.
I know, right? Oh my gosh, it's so tough. All right, let's go. You go first, Colton. Tell me your Prince of the Hill and running up the hill for running back.
Sure. Yeah, I'll tell you the winners real fast. The winners of the week. Gonna start it off. My Prince of the Hill. I think it's an easy one. Austin Eckler. I think I just went with a solid name. A guy who I think can produce. They had a bad week last week. He's gonna come back storming up the hill. Eckler is going to win me my week. And if that doesn't work, I have another wild card, another big one. I wanted to go Dobbins again, but I couldn't. I love Dobbins. I would go Dobbins every week as my running up the hill if you'd allow it. But I can't. So running up the hill, Zach Moss.
Ugh. Talk about digging out of the dumpster for that one. Jeez.
I know you don't like it. There were better options. There were people out there I could have gone with, but Zach Moss, I don't even know why I win it. It's against the Chargers. They're a really bad run defense.
They are.
So we'll see. I know you have said you like other people on that team a little better.
I do.
But, hey, you swing big, you hit big sometimes. And if you had the cojones last week to say Zay Jones, you would have looked like a genius. And I'm going to look like the mad scientist putting something together this week when Zach Moss finishes number 1.
I hope you're right. I hope it's not Derric McKinnon again.
Oh, my God. Again. No kidding. 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh. Yeah, Austin Eckler. Let's just talk about that. Hold on, before I tell you mine. Justin Herbert lost so many people their weeks last week.
Yeah,
he ruined playoff weeks last week. That was such a bad game from him, and they won. That's the problem. They won the game.
Yep, he looked like hot poo. Eric, I have to ask you something. I'm going to go off on a bit of a tangent again.
All right,
I'll make it a quick one.
Yep.
I need to know who to start this week.
All right.
I have Justin Herbert.
Ugh.
And I made it into the semifinals. So I'm in the semifinals right now.
All right.
I just creeped in, so I'm versing the first overall seed. Mm-hmm. Or Tua.
Oh. I think it's easy. This one's easy for me. I'm still.
You think Tua's the easy one?
No. I think it's gonna be Justin Herbert.
Oh,
I think you got to play Justin Herbert.
Dude, it's crazy how close they are. On the season rank, Justin Herbert is ranked 11 and Tua's ranked 10. So these guys have been so close together all season long. But he does play Indianapolis. It's on a Monday. Gets a little extra rest. Tua plays Green Bay. So
Green Bay's a tougher matchup.
Yeah, it is. It is. So I think, all right, I'll ride the hand. Continue.
That's what I think. Here's another 2 names. Hold on real quick. I want to bring up Geno Smith or Jared Goff.
Ooh. That's a really tough one.
Yeah.
I think Jared Goff.
You think Jared Goff against the Jets?
I think Goff, because you said it yourself. You said it yourself that they have more to play for right now.
Yeah,
and
they do.
He's quarterback 9 on the season. Man, I think that he's got Carolina this week. I think I would go with him. I think I'm going Jared Goff.
Yeah.
I know Geno's been good, but let's look up what he's done. How he's playing. Who do they have? Kansas City this week?
They have Kansas City.
Ooh.
That's the thing.
Dang. All right, I'm switching. I'm going Geno.
Damn it, Colton.
I know. Hey, I get it. I know.
Yeah, he's gonna have to put up points. So Geno just lost Tyler Lockett though.
Ooh, dang.
You're
on your own here. This is tough.
Switch back.
Oh, man. You know what? I'm going back to Jared Goff. Final answer.
It was a tough one, dude. I knew that one was on my head. That one was in my head for a while, too. But yeah, that one's a tough one, too.
Oh, it was so tough, man. Good luck on that. I think I'd go Goff. Final answer.
Well, I don't know now. Maybe I'll go Geno.
Just pick the opposite of who I say. Yeah. You'll have success.
All right. Sorry, we're going on tangents here. For my Prince of the Hill for running back, I'm going with I'm going up against him this week, which is terrible, terrifying. But it's either he kills me in that league, and I win here in King of the Hill, or he doesn't do that great, and I lose on King of the Hill. It's Derrick Henry.
Yeah, but I think you're forgetting a world where he gets like second or third, still kicks your ass in the dirt, and you lose both.
He gets like
that
second.
World exists. Just want to put that out there.
Jared McKinnon puts up another 30 bomb, and
oh god,
Derrick Henry gives 29.
Yeah, it still rushes for 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. McKinnon has 30 passes. That just
oh my gosh, Derrick Henry against the Houston Texans is deadly. He knows how to play them. He knows
a great matchup.
Yeah, the Houston Texans are like the worst. And The worst part about it is that Ryan Tannehill he's injured at this time. So
Yep.
he's more than likely he says he'll try to play. And so the Houston Texans are just the worst against the run.
Yeah. I mean it's a heck of a call. Like you can't go wrong with this one. Everything points to him having success.
Last time he played Houston, he got 35 points.
Oh my God. Jeez. Yep. He could do it.
Yeah, I'm going up against him. Love it. All right, running up the hill. I'm going with the DeAndre Swift this week. And against the Carolina Panthers. Here's my reasoning for it. I think the Lions go up by a lot, and they won't need to pass it that much anymore against Carolina. That's one reason why Sam Darnold is okay to stream, but I don't know how confident I am in that, so don't quote me on that.
Okay, yeah. Hey, listen, I don't mind the pick. I just think if you're going to do it, you got to back yourself and start golf.
All right, well, I'm backing myself up. I'm going with DeAndre Swift, and it's because I feel like the Lions will put up a good amount of points early, and then they'll ride with Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift, with DeAndre Swift being more effective in the passing game.
What a cop-out answer.
Hey, that's what
cop-out answer.
I'm going with it, and I'm rolling with it.
Okay, we'll see. I think you're wrong. All right, I'll throw out my wide receivers here.
Yeah.
And I 100% this week have the winner, by the way.
Okay.
It doesn't like I don't even think you have to say your guys just because I'm so confident that I have the winner this week.
All right. Who? Just say hurry up.
Diggs. Stephon Diggs, my Prince of the Hill. I don't know why I put an accent on that.
Yeah, he's good. I like his matchup against the Bears. They should be fine.
Didn't require an accent though. It's a weird accent. Sorry about that.
The Bears? You don't like that?
I don't know. I just threw that out. Yeah, I mean, you just can't go wrong with him, and he is so due. I know that doesn't matter at all, but he is so due.
Did you see how mad he was on the sideline last week whenever he didn't get the ball thrown to him?
That's the kind of week where, like, the next week, the quarterback over-targets him, where it could be, like, damaging to the team. So, yeah, love it. And then another guy who again, sort of similar situation. I picked him for the same reason, Christian Watson. I think he had a really down week this past week after on, like, a 5-game heater to where the guy was unstoppable. And I think it's going to be another week where Rodgers is saying, okay, I see you, young gun. I'll get you the ball more. And I'm picking two guys who I think are due this week for success.
Stephon Diggs, another player that I'm going up against this week. Not looking forward to it.
You're going to double lose.
You know what's going to be great is if Stephon Diggs gets the king of the hill and I lose to Stephon Diggs and Derrick Henry doesn't get it.
Oh, man. But he gets like third.
I would be so upset. All right. For my Prince of the Hill, I'm going with Tyreek Hill against the Green Bay Packers. Here's what I'm doing, and I feel like I'm being smart about this. I'm going with Tyreek Hill because he is on my opposing team that I'm going up against this week for playoffs. Okay. For those of you listening, I'm only in playoffs in one more league now. I got eliminated in my other leagues. So this is my last league that I'm in playoffs. So I am either hitting on King of the Hill, or I'm hitting on playoffs. That's what I'm doing here. So I'm going with Tyreek Hill. So hopefully he doesn't do good because I'm going up against him.
It's not the worst plan you ever had. I actually like it.
It's a good idea, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, great.
All right. For my running up the hill, I'm going with Mike Evans, and this one's a shot in the dark right here. Mike Evans has been overdue since week 3
no kidding.
of this season. You know what? I'm calling it right now. I think he gets a touchdown. I think he gets a bomb touchdown this week.
Ooh, he needs one of those.
He's due for one. He's had a couple of bombs just called back, and I think he's due for one this week.
Okay.
So yeah, give me some Mike Evans. I feel like he's due.
All right. I don't hate that. Those picks are pretty solid. I like your logic behind it too. It'll be a fun
Thanks.
week this week.
It makes sense in my head. That's
Yeah,
what
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
going for.
It'll be
All
fun
right.
to evaluate.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to our final segment, which is waivers. Finally going to bring out some waivers. And here's the first one that I'm going to throw out there that's very risky and it's questionable. Zach Wilson. Are you confident with Zach Wilson this week going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars? This could be a 50-50 coin toss right here.
Red flags, red flags. Throw them up. I don't like this pick. I understand, especially with how many quarterbacks have gone down recently, why he's an attractive name because he's in a decent offense. But let's look at last week when he held the team. Did he do okay?
He had 20 points.
He put up 18 points.
Oh, okay. I see 20 on mine. But he had 2 passing touchdowns over 300 yards, 1 interception.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's a good day.
It's not bad.
I don't know.
It's tough.
This is a really tough call. I think if you're in a position to where you need a quarterback, he's probably the best of a really, really bad bunch right now. And hopefully you don't need him for fantasy playoffs. But if you do, man,
that's a tough call.
Man, this is a really tough call. I'm going to lean no, just slightly though. I think Wilson, the short week doesn't favor them.
Yeah, I think that's one thing to look at too. Zach Wilson or Brock Purdy?
Oh, Purdy for sure.
All right.
Yeah, Purdy. That dude is built for success. That entire team is very. It's very cohesive at the moment. They're all running. They're firing on all cylinders for him. You lost Debo, but the rest of the team's looking stout. So yeah, give me Purdy.
Zach Wilson or Deshaun Watson?
Deshaun Watson. I think his ceiling is way higher.
Yeah. Dang, that one's. I would go Zach Wilson there. I think
really?
I would go. I think I would go Zach Wilson there.
No, I think Deshaun Watson has a much higher ceiling, and his floor seems to be about the same. He got 16 points last week.
Here's the thing about Zach Wilson, real quick. He's a 50-50 guy. He's either going to do good or he's going to do bad.
Yeah,
he's going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars, which are Dak just put up a great game against them. Granted, they did lose, but you can score through the air against Jacksonville. That's one thing to keep in mind.
Yeah, but they also just got 2 interceptions against Dak.
That's true.
So
one of them wasn't Dak's fault, though.
Well, they weren't. Absolutely not. Yeah, I'm not saying they're his fault, but at the end of the day, they managed to put up that against Dak Prescott, who's not a bad quarterback at all. And I think he's probably leagues above what Zach Wilson is in decision making. I don't know if you saw that play at the end of the game where Zach Wilson threw it across the field, across his body, 40 yards down the field, and his receiver had, I don't know, roughly 10 seconds to get under the ball. It was really, 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 really lucky. And I just don't know that he gets away with that again. That's the kind of decision making, like you said, it's very 50-50. And it's just is that decision making going to bite him? Yes, I think it does this week.
All right. Well, he's a 50-50 guy for me.
Mm-hmm.
So,
absolutely.
If you need a Hail Mary, then maybe, I guess. But
yeah, maybe it's, again, 50-50. Is he going to catch it or is he throwing a pick six?
Yeah. He's one of those guys, if you're losing Jalen Hurts, you could either go with Zach Wilson or our next guy, which is Gardner Minshew. He is our next waiver wire ad. Gardner Minshew is interesting. He has the weapons around him, definitely, especially with Dallas Goedert coming back. And he's going up against the Cowboys. Now, Trevor Lawrence just dominated the Cowboys. He danced around them. He did so good against them. And the Cowboys have been looking. Their defense hasn't been what we're used to seeing. They're riding a very cold hand right now. Which is surprising for sure. So I feel like Gardner Minshew could have some success this week, especially with his weapons. So
Yeah, I actually really like Minshew this week. If you're telling me it's I have to start Zach Wilson or Minshew, I think Minshew is
Yeah.
really good, actually. Like, he put up some good games for Jacksonville.
Yeah, he did.
And I think with this team, it's just really hard to lose. Like, you can put a lot of people into this organization right now with what they have and say, okay, you got Brown, you have Goddard, you have all these players, Smith, Sanders
Right.
in your backfield, the best offensive line in football, a defense that's probably going to get you a few interceptions, at least one turnover. Like, it's just so hard to lose with that squad right now. So I think for a game, I like Minshew a heck of a lot better.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I'll take that. I like that take. I like Minshew better than Zach Wilson too.
Yeah,
Going into this upcoming week.
for sure.
All right, another name on this list is Jawan Johnson on the Saints. He has been turning it on as of late. It's good to see because tight ends are very diminished at this time.
Yeah, no kidding.
One thing that I would say, I would start Jawan Johnson over Okonkwo at this point.
Okay.
I think he is, especially if Ryan Tannehill goes out. But yeah, I think that's kind of where I stand for that.
Yeah, he seems to be coming along. He had a really, really good week. It's hard not to put him at the top, especially with just how tough the tight end landscape is right now. I think he's a must add.
Yeah.
It seems to, that, again, just another one of those ride the hot hands in the playoffs. These names that win you games. They're the unknown
Right.
guys, but, yeah, I think I'm adding him in just about every league I can. Even if I'm not in the playoffs, I'm adding him to prevent other guys from picking him up, just to be that guy. So, yeah, if you're not ahead of me on the waiver wire, don't expect to get him. Anybody listening who's in the same league as me.
I like him. I mean, the scary part about it is that he's very touchdown reliant. I feel like he
Sure.
had 2 touchdowns this last week, which is it's great. I mean, but the thing is that he's been getting those touchdowns. Like he's been utilized in the goal line. That's one thing just to keep in mind. So like if you're banking on Jawan Johnson, bank on a touchdown too.
Yep, makes sense.
That's where I would keep him at. All right, let's move on. A running back target is Jerick McKinnon. He's rostered in about 60% of leagues already, but just if you just look on your at the players that are available on waivers. I was talking to somebody earlier today, and Jerick McKinnon was available to be added. I was like, you got to get him. Get this guy. He's so good. He's Patrick Mahomes' favorite target right now. He's got the hot hand. So yeah, Jerick McKinnon is somebody that should be rostered in pretty much everywhere. He should be on everybody's roster.
And I know we're a little late to the party. We know that. We get it. We're a week behind here. So, just wait. We understand. It'll pay off.
It'll pay off. We're a little late here, but the crazy part about it is that I really didn't see this coming. Honestly, I really did not.
Yeah.
I didn't see this coming at all. I thought it was going to be Isaiah Pacheco. That's that's where my head was.
Absolutely. Right there with you.
But yeah, no, it was Jerick McKinnon all along. He was the one that was doing it. That bastard.
No kidding, man.
All right. Another name to look for is Marquise Goodwin. Now that Tyler Lockett is out for the rest of the regular season, Marquise Goodwin, whenever DK was out, was really good. So I think he's somebody that you should be targeting, especially this week going up against the Kansas City Chiefs. They're going to have to put up a lot of points. So I think he's a good name for people that need a wide receiver.
Yeah.
So look out for him.
Look at week 7. The dude was dominant with 2 touchdowns, 22 fantasy points. That's a heck of a game. Week 14.
Yeah, week 14. That's what I'm
receiving touchdown, 95 yards. That's pretty great. Yeah, I think it's a great, again, one of those names that you should probably have on your roster, especially if you need a spot start.
Yeah, like you said, I was just about to say that he's a great spot start this week, for sure. All right, let's move on to the Colts side of football now that Jonathan Taylor is done. Colton, you
Rip.
think it's going to be Zach Moss? I
Yeah,
think it's going to be. Here, go ahead. Tell me why. And I'll tell you why I think it's going to be
it's
Deion Jackson.
I actually in every league today, I actually put in a waiver claim for Deion Jackson, and then I saw that Zach Moss was getting the majority of the carries. I actually prefer Jackson as a player, but I don't know that the opportunity is going to be there for him. And I'm at the point of the season where you cannot pick the guy who has less volume. So I'm going Zach Moss strictly from a volume standpoint, although I do think Johnson is the better runner. I don't know in the next 2 weeks leading up to, your Super Bowl matchups here, I don't know that he's going to get the opportunity to produce during that time. So that's why I'm going Moss, although I don't feel good about it. I'm going to go with the guy who has more opportunity, straight up at this point.
Yeah. So here's where my head is. I think it's going to be a Deion Jackson. And like you said, Zach Moss is way less efficient than Deion Jackson is. And so what I'm thinking happened this past week, I know Zach Moss got more of the carries, but it happened after that fumble that Deion Jackson lost.
Yeah.
And so they saw that fumble. He lost the fumble. Jeff Saturday with his coaching skills over there, he just took Deion Jackson out after that and put Zach Moss in, and for most of the rest of the game. Deion Jackson, if you look back at his game when Jonathan Taylor was out, week 6, number 1 running back, 12 rushing attempts for 42 yards, a rushing touchdown, 10 targets, 10 receptions for 79 yards. Those are great numbers.
Pretty incredible.
What do we know about Matt Ryan? He loves to throw the ball short. This past week, I don't think Matt Ryan threw a pass over 10 yards this last week.
Yeah.
Against the Vikings.
That's true. That's a heck of a point, man.
So that's why I think it's going to be Deion Jackson. I know Zach Moss got a lot more carries and he got a lot more looks and touches. But I still think Deion Jackson is going to benefit more.
Yeah.
We'll come back to this, though. We'll see.
Oh, yeah.
We'll see
You may have swayed me. Again, I think he's a good player, so we'll see. This will be one of those we'll see.
Yeah. All right. Last but not least, streaming defenses. We told y'all to grab the Cleveland D.
Yeah.
And I hope you got them because they have a really good matchup against New Orleans. This is going to be a really low-scoring game, I feel like. Deshaun Watson versus Andy Dalton. It's great.
Yeah, it's just, again, it's another safe week for this defense.
Yeah. And then the last defense, it's the Titans. Titans D.
Yeah.
Against the Houston Texans. Here's a crazy stat, though. So the Houston Texans against Kansas City versus Dallas, last 2 weeks, have kept it really close. They have kept these games really, really close. And this is one that you put on your list, Colton. I don't know if I'm agreeing to it anymore, though. I think I would rather have the Cleveland Browns defense than the Titans defense.
Yeah, that's fair. I think at this point, anybody would rather have that defense.
Yeah.
Now, here's what I want to find out, just real quick. Browns, 25% rostered. Titans, 27% rostered. So they're almost dead even.
Yeah, it's pretty
close.
close.
I think if I had to rank them, I'm going Browns, but my backup defense this week, and this is only this week. I don't like them as a long-term option, but they are really, really good on the ground, being able to stop the run. And I don't know, man. You're right. They have had success over the past 2 weeks. I could be completely off on this, but I'm gonna ride that Tennessee, especially with Derric Henry, as you said, they always whoop ass against this team. Yeah. So I'm just gonna bank that they do it again, quite honestly, and hope that Houston is playing to lose because they want the first overall pick for Bryce Young.
Yeah. Here's my bold prediction for this game.
Okay.
I think that the Houston Texans keep it close, like they have the past 2 weeks. And I think the Houston Texans win this game.
Oh my gosh, you're going
I'm
Texans
going
win?
I'm going to Texas win. Texans win this
game. Gave me chills. Legitimately gave me chills hearing that.
Yeah, it's crazy. Chris Moore's been putting it on though.
Weird.
It's gonna be interesting. I'm going with it though. You could quote me on that.
Oh man, see, I think they lose by like 10. I think it's gonna be a bloodbath.
Here's the thing about the Titans. They've lost the last 4 games in a row. They've lost 4 games in a row. So they are trending in the wrong direction right now. They are falling down. Yeah. And they've lost against some tough defenses. They've lost against the Jaguars. They've lost against the Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be one of those games where it gets out of hand for no reason. And the Texans just kind of take control. It's It's a bold prediction. So
I'm writing it down right now. We are coming back to this next week.
Come back next week. All right. I think that does it for today, Koltsky. I think we're good.
Yeah, if there's one takeaway that I'd give everybody, it's start Travis Kelce. Don't overthink it. He's a great play.
Better than Dawson Knox.
Oh, dude. Yeah, absolutely.
Better than Dallas Goedert.
Better than Njoku. Name your elite tight ends who just produce every single week, and Kelsey's the guy still. Ugh. I get it. It's a tough one. Let's start him. You won't regret it.
Oh, my God. All right, that's it. We're done. That's going to do it for us today, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for listening to us. This has been another great episode of the Halftime Adjustments podcast. You can listen to us everywhere on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and now on Amazon Podcasts. And be sure to reach out to us on Twitter at the Halftime Adjustments Pod or halftime_ADJ on Twitter. And we will see you guys next week. Good luck on your fantasy playoffs. Later.